Welcome to Everyday Life. Thank you for joining our podcast, Conversations Over Coffee. My name is Jen.
And I'm Dagda.
And we're going to hit you with the explicit content warning right off the bat. This podcast does include adult situations and adult language from time to time.
I'm an angel. I never fucking cuss.
Okay. Anyways, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go. So anyways, we were super duper pert when we were young, which, you know, we were just talking about on the last episode about these different things and all of that. And I started out on music, then I had the Squirrel and we went to country life and all of that. So I kind of want to get back to the music thing because you are doing this audio project.
Yep.
So have you listened to anything that you've recorded? Because I was thinking this was kind of like a curious question in my head.
No, I haven't.
So oddly enough, I think albums sound the best and then like cassettes, right?
Yeah.
Because I like that little bit of crackly yes, I love that crackly distortion. Like, you know, if you're playing a true like record or a cassette and you're playing it loud enough, it sounds like they're just like two doors down or something. And you're like, yeah, I'm hearing this little bit of feedback. Because I was kind of curious when you're recording this, since it's recording true sound from the cassette itself onto your MP3 drive, is it going to pick any of that up, or is it going to automatically clean up, since the program that you automatically default to using is Audacity?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of assume that I assume that it's going to sound the same as if you were just listening to the cassette tape. So I assume there will be some artifacts of that medium. They don't have a turntable here, so you can't do records. Just CDs, DVDs, VHS, and cassette tapes. So I don't know. I haven't tried to listen to any of the stuff. I'm just trying to get it re-recorded and be done with it.
Yeah, that would say, because what was interesting is we were in here the other day and you actually had one that when it quit playing, the tape popped.
Yeah.
Which is an easy fix.
Yeah.
You know, like people don't understand why pencils are so important to have in your house as a Gen Xer. Scotch tape and pencils are must have as Gen Xers. So so right now he's doing, it's towards the end of the side B of a cassette.
Yep. Hidden track.
Yeah. And we were talking about this the other day about why it was so important to let it play until you get all the way to the end of the actual cassette. Because it's not like a CD where you just skip and it's gone. It's actually has a little bit of time left behind it. And he just got, from here, because obviously I can't hear it, it sounds like cowbells or railroad crossings, but it's just like a little hidden riff. And sometimes they have, sometimes you'll have the artist sending you like, it used to be like a little surprise message or whatever, like, yeah, you've joined George Michael, babe, blah, you know, like whatever. Nobody's going to know who he is, obviously, but.
Definitely not be a George Michael in my fucking collection.
Well, you know what I mean? Like they would have those hidden. I think Prince had a couple of, I want to say on his Purple Rain cassette, he had something. I don't think it was extremely audible, but I think he had a little like 15, 20 second blip in there because there was a girl I went to school with named Tiffany. Yeah. When I was like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. And so that is elementary school and secondary school. I think that's what they call it now.
I don't know.
I asked my neighbor kid, I was just like, oh, so which middle school are you going to go to? Which junior high are you going to go to? Because, you know, you had to quit saying junior high like 20 years ago. And then it went to middle school. And he looked at me, he went, oh, what's that? And I'm like, the school you go to after elementary school? He's like, what's that? And I'm just like, wait, what?
So did they take on the British terms?
Primary, secondary, and high school is the way he referred to the three. Primary, which is an English thing. I don't know. So, but he's not from England.
Yeah.
He's from California. So I don't know, but he referred to what we call elementary school as primary school. And he referred to what we call middle school or junior high school as secondary school.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's high school. And I think he's terrified because his high school would be, if he chooses to go to that one, is the same as my high school. And I think he's a little terrified.
Okay.
We're very notorious. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. Anyways, so once you have this entire collection done, it would kind of be interesting to see if you can, like, if you literally can tell when listening to them what might have been your more favorite cassettes to listen to, because like they're over
there's
time.
wear and tear on them. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that I listened to enough of any of them enough to really put in that much wear on them. I mean, some of them got broken or whatever, or crinkled up, and then I had to repair them.
Which is still easy enough to do.
Yeah. Just hope that the damage part wasn't very much and that it was in between songs or something, which that almost never happens. But otherwise, you're going to have little missing spots when you cut out pieces of the tape and tape it back together.
Yeah, there was nothing worse than when you had to repair a cassette, because it was like, oh, dude, I have to have this album. And it might have been a song that you either really loved or you didn't care too much, whatever, but it was still your music. And all of a sudden it's playing along, and then you hit your repair spot, and it's just like, well, one Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, it has this total tonal change and everything, and it's like, dadgummit.
Yeah.
Because I don't say the GD word, and I haven't for...
I do.
I know you do, so you can say it for me.
Sometimes I'll make a point to say it.
I know. Just like you'll make a point to say my least favorite word in the world, just because you can get my goat like that.
I'm allowed.
Well, that is true. That is true. You are entitled to say that word. That is one thing you are actually entitled to. I will not argue with you on that point, because I'm pretty sure that that's the rules of the game with that word.
Although, to be fair, I don't think that I've never looked at somebody funny when they said that word.
Oh gosh.
I don't really care. It's just a word.
Mm.
Also, because I've been called all kinds of stuff.
Oh yes, I know. Because there is an old customer of ours. Every time I see him, I want to punch him in the face. I mean, so hey.
But only one time did I ever actually get mad when somebody called me some racist stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair to him, we had been arguing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, so both of us were already angry.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I had called him sir several times in a condescending manner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
sir.
when he called me boy,
Ugh.
I can give him some grace. But I was angry, and it made me angrier, which is the whole point. So when people are calling you stuff like that, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't really have much to do with you. It has to do with them.
Right.
And they're trying to get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get upset about whatever they said, they win. You are the loser, not them.
Well, yeah, because if you stoop to that level, then not only does it look like you have lower brain functions than you actually do, but then they get this great satisfaction. Ha, I showed control and dominance over this person. Look at them melting like putty in my hand. Just by a simple word, they became a crybaby.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, oh, I'm not going to lie. That the most angry I have been at somebody, besides using that one word that I absolutely cannot tolerate in a derogatory fashion against, one of my friends from school, or acquaintances, I should say, because she didn't like it when me and her brother hooked up, but whatever. That's a whole different story. That's probably the most visceral reaction I've had, is that one customer talking to you the way he did. And not because it was such a bad, horrible thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's a good question.
Fucking hey, like, I don't know. Doing everything out of sequence. It's to me, it's not the fact that he used that word, because you're very accepting of the word that he called you. It was the condensation in his voice. And that's the thing that people don't seem to understand anymore. It's like, it's not always about what you say. There's a lot of times it's about how you say it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get offended when somebody, goes, who might say something like, oh, when I used to smoke. And so I never got offended when somebody say, oh, it's such a shame you smoke, because, that's going to change your voice, and you're such a sweet person. That didn't offend me. I was just like, yeah, I can see your point of view, but I don't do drugs. I don't drink. Let me have my one vice. Right. Well, there was other people like, oh, if you didn't smoke, you'd be so pretty. You know that, right? That would drive me crazy because it's like, do you understand that smoking, having an addiction like smoking, doesn't make me less intelligent? It just makes me have an addiction. And it's literally a fight to break those addictions.
Yeah.
Although this year I did, congratulations me, I did break that, but that's only because I was threatened with death by the dentist. So got to make that choice. When the dentist says to you, if you smoke again, you most likely will give yourself a stroke and die. You really kind of, and if I'd only had one dentist say that and she had been a non-smoker, I'd be like, whatever, bitch, you're just a non-smoker. You're just a hater. But this actually happened to be an older dentist who did smoke. I was so jealous. I actually saw that bitch go out back and have a cigarette while they were waiting for the Novocaine to kick in. I'm fucking so mad at her. But anyways, if I'd only had the one dentist and she hadn't been a smoker and I hadn't actually seen her dragging off of a cigarette myself, and she had been a non-smoking dentist, which there's, more non-smoking than smoking dentists. And had I not had the dentist I have seen irregularly for the last few years in my neighborhood, I probably would have lit a cigarette up and would have never had known the wiser. But I actually did have a dentist who was a smoker or is a smoker because she's still alive, obviously. And I'd seen her have a drag of a cigarette. I literally had her say, look, this is just how it is. Look, here's the x-ray of your jaw. You've got a massive infection. Look right here. Here is your blood pressure. Here's your heart rate. Like, you are 1 point from us having to call an ambulance and send you to the hospital because you are about to go into like stroke range. If I hadn't seen everything and had her just look at me and I think it was because it kind of reminded me of other things that happened in my life. And my one grandmother, the way she would just grab my hand and pat my arm, and the way she would just grab me and be like, things will get better. You just gotta, just give it a little bit of time. Things get better. Mm. And it was just the way that she approached it and the way that she clasped onto me. And I'm absolutely terrified of smoking. I actually get really nervous when I smell cigarette smoke because I almost have this instant panic. Is it just smelling secondhand smoke going to give me a heart attack? Which is like a paranoid delusion, right? I understand that. But I think it's better to have that fear so I don't pick up a cigarette again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just like,
anyway.
It's just like one of those things where it's just like, I don't want to die, and I don't want to die over a cigarette. But then just other things that have happened in the last few months. And there's been a couple times where I've looked at you and said, I haven't smoked for this long. And I swear to God, this motherfucker is going to make me smoke.
Yeah.
And it's funny because for anybody who is out there and who's struggling, for most people, once you get past a certain point, it's not as bad. It really isn't. I think probably because I was on so much pain medication. And honestly, because I tried to deduce why was it so much easier for me versus somebody else once it actually came to that point of quitting. And the one thing I can deduce for me is because I had that emergency dental surgery done and it was such a bad infection and they had me on meds and everything. I honestly think that first 10 days being on anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, and pain medicine, I think that made the biggest difference because it just any amount of air hitting those open sites while it was draining was just unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
And the other thing that is for anybody who's out there trying to like not smoke again, never use another straw. Learn how to drink out of cups. Don't use a straw. Because it just reminds you of what you're not doing. And me also, because of how my mouth had to heal, I'm, when she said, don't use a straw again, just don't do it. I'm still terrified to use a straw. So, that's my commitment is I'm not smoking. I'm not using a straw. Not using a straw seems to be the biggest thing. I do panic when I smell cigarette smoke. Like seriously, I am afraid it's going to give, if I'm like directly around it and not just like passing through the air, I am so terrified it's going to give me a stroke that I start sweating and my anxiety gets going.
Can't hang out around Chuck or Sandy.
Well, it's not that. Like when we went to Mama D's birthday party, I was right there when they were smoking. Mm-hmm. And it was fine. It didn't bother me, but that was like within 3 months of not smoking.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
it was within that first 3 months. But now that I'm getting close to that 6-month mark and my lungs are actually healing up better, my jaws, like my gums are finally really starting to heal really well, minus the, easy irritation and bleeding. This side, the big side where all the damage was on my right side, it's actually doing much better. So now here I am 6 months out, and I haven't been around cigarette smoke since we were at Mama Day's birthday party.
Yeah.
And I specifically haven't, like I've made wide berths around people who are smoking outside of a grocery store or whatever. And like when we were taking our friend who had been in an automobile accident, when we were taking him and helping him with a grocery run, I mean, anytime somebody would start smoking around my car, I'd move my car because, there was no way I was leaving my car in that parking lot. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
got to protect my vehicle because it's the only thing I got left of value. But I forgot to bring that thing in again. Anyways, yeah, it doesn't bother me, but I wouldn't want to hang out in their home if they smoke in their house. I would not.
Yeah, they do.
And I can't handle it. I haven't ever been able to handle that because I haven't lived in a house where you smoke inside of the house if you're a smoker in a very, very long time. Even when I was a smoker, it has been the better part of my adult life where I didn't smoke in the house. So it's just because it stinks. Even when I was a kid, my grandparents smoked, and I didn't mind that they smoked, but I much appreciated it that they had the doors open when they did.
Yeah, I can't remember because my grandparents smoked, but I don't remember them smoking in the house, but I also don't remember them particularly going outside to smoke.
Did you guys have like an enclosed porch?
Yes. When I first moved in with my grandparents, we had a porch, but it wasn't enclosed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like sort of just a small one off of one side of our house.
Was it like the kitchen side?
Yes, it was sort of like the kitchen is here.
Mm-hmm.
Out there was where the porch was, and it went kind of around to where the front door was. Well, the door that came in.
So kind of like a half wrap.
Yeah. And then, it only went like just past the kitchen as far as the porch is concerned, just went past the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, my grandfather had a idea house. And so like he would constantly be altering it or whatever.
Right.
And so at one point we enclosed that porch and took it all the way to that end of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did the same thing the other way down to the other side of the house. So two sides of the house had a enclosed porch on it.
And then you had you had one side that had an open porch, two sides that had enclosed porches, and then one side without any porch.
No, just so it was, the porch was basically L-shaped attached to two sides of our house.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Have you been back by the property since your grandparents have passed away and it's been sold and all that?
Only when my uncle and I, because my uncle was taking me to his funeral, effectively,
Mm-hmm.
his memorial or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
On the way, we stopped and got my aunt, who lived basically across the railroad tracks
Mm-hmm.
from the house I grew up in. And then we drove by the house. I mean, the house is still there. Well, it was then. That was like
10 years ago.
It was just before COVID. It was like the
2018. That's right. So
before COVID, 2 years before COVID.
Yeah, so 2018. So 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So you and I should take a trip out that way and go see how it's changed.
Yeah.
Because, we've talked about the evolution of my grandparents' house. It'd be really interesting to see how your grandparents' house evolved. Because my grandparents' house, where it is on that hill,
Mm-hmm.
it was from there all the way to where I showed you. Now, where the garden was, there's now 3 houses.
Yeah.
And then, so you had the lower garden where the big garden was, and then you had the chicken coop and the duck pen and the goose pen, and all that's now homes and home areas.
Yeah.
Even Helen's house is fucking gone, and they've got something else there. And so, yeah, it would be interesting to see how it's changed.
Yeah.
Because have you been back through your home, what's considered your hometown, very much since you graduated and went to the military and came back?
No, I mean, of course, I went back there when I was in the military because my grandparents were still living out there.
Right.
And so when I'd come home to visit, I'd obviously go there.
Mm-hmm.
But after I got out of the military, I stayed back east basically.
Yeah.
For a while. And since then, I hadn't come back out here other than to go to one of my uncles who lives sort of out in the sticks. It's kind
Out
of
in the boondocks.
actually, it was very much the sticks when he moved out there, but now it's not.
Right.
Well, just like my hometown, it's grown exponentially.
Yeah.
It was like even when I was in high school, it was the fastest growing area in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's close to several major cities and major-ish.
It's very close actually to the military base around here.
And a military base. Yeah. So it was convenient for people who could live off post to live because it was like a 30-minute, at the time it was like a 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
Now it's closer to an hour drive because of traffic.
Yeah.
But so it was close enough for that. It was close enough to live out there and not have to live in either of the cities.
Yeah.
And still have good access to work. It's just it was a convenient location.
Yeah.
Although the roads aren't super convenient.
No, but it is a 40-minute drive no matter which direction you go. Well, I mean, they have so many different access points now for the military because when we were growing up, the military base and the Air Force base were separate bases.
Yes.
There was the two shall not meet.
Yeah.
They two shall. Now it's one joint base. It's one giant joint base. And working as I did for 4 years as a mover, moving 99% military, I can tell you that I had days where I had to be on the Air Force side in the morning, and then I'd have to be on the Army side at night. And anybody who thinks it's an even remotely even more convenient drive to cut through base is absolutely wrong. It is so much faster to hop out at your nearest gate, drive down to your next exit if you have your day pass, and go in. Because that's the hardest thing about like our local base is there's only 3 commercial access points. And they're not super convenient, but it makes sense. So you have the big city, one that's close to the big city, which is on the Air Force side of it. So they've got the one, but they're not always open. They're shut down constantly and chronically, and they don't like to issue you a pass if you need to be on both sides of the base. And then you've got the other one that's the commercial pass that works anywhere between ABC. But if you want to go to D, that's a whole different gate. And there's all these, it's just, anybody who thinks it's easy is just crazy.
That makes me kind of wonder, because I've not been on a post. So when I was in the Army, I was in the 82nd, and it's set up kind of like the one out here because the airborne people have to get on airplanes.
Right.
And so they're right next to Fort Bragg and Pope Air Force Base are abutted just like here. And so I have not been on a post since they started doing the consolidation type stuff. So I'm curious as to if they have the Army's in control of the security of the entire post, because that would make sense, even though the Air Force has specific MOSs that are security people.
Right.
I'm curious if they did that, or if the Air Force people are still in control of the entrances and security for the Air Force portion, and the Army people are in control, because that would make a difference as far as the way they would operate and their attitude towards dealing with it. Because in my mind, at least, the Air Force would be more likely to be like, "We're going to lunch, fuck y'all," kind of situation.
That's true facts.
The Air Force operated when I was in, at least.
I could tell anybody interstate, intercounty who has to deal with that. I could tell them which gate to go to, and I could tell them what they might run into, because on one of the very specific gates that's located nearer a growing city, I could tell you right there, if you go in there and say one word, if you go to that gate and say one word about, man, this is taking a long time, I got to get to this job, tell you what, it's going to take 3 times as long because they're just that way. They're constantly understaffed there.
Mm.
I literally one time after being there for 2 hours, because when you're doing a commercial check-in, if somebody calls out for work, which the first year and a half after COVID, constantly people were like, oh, I've got COVID, can't come in. It's automatically 2 weeks off for them. It was at the time.
Mm.
Automatically, they're quarantined to their house, and that's just how it is. And so more than one occasion going to one specific gate, I'd be like, oh man, this is taking a long time. Do we have the ability to still get an escort? Because during COVID, sometimes it was okay, sometimes it wasn't okay to have the military personnel escort you in. And it just mattered what kind of PPE you were wearing or had available to you, which they did not like during COVID mask season.
Yeah.
They did not like you showing up without your mask up and on your face, but then they'd yell at you if your mask was up and on your face because they're just like, show me your face. And it's like, fuck, what are you going to do? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But it seems to me they all wear the same uniform. So I don't know what that means, but it seems to me the best of my recollection, 98% of the time, they were all wearing the same uniforms, no matter whether I went to Air Force side or I went to, as far as commercial check-ins go.
Okay.
Right. But there was a couple times on the Air Force commercial side of it, which most people are not aware of that one. And that's fine because I'm not about to rat anybody out because they are the most, they're like, mahalo, hang ten, brah. I mean, they are the most laid back side of it. But I do remember at least 2 trips going through that gate where literally it was a bunch of happy dudes. Like they'd just come from happy hour and they were relaxed about everything. I got you, brah. No worries, no worries. Hey, Commander so-and-so, this person from this company, are you moving today? Okay, all right, brah. Yeah, you're good, honey. Go ahead and go. So I had that experience too, but that's only twice out of, you figure that in 4 years, or at least during the height of moving season for me, I probably in 4 years moved close to help pack and move 900 to 1,200 families, different family situations.
Yeah.
That would be the average because there was a period of time where it was just obviously doing what I did and what I evolved from where I started in the company to where I ended in that company. There was a 6 months where it was just me and one helper. And all we did was go out and pack, just literally go pack as many apartments as we could. And there was one day we did 7 jobs. So you're going to have that fluctuation. Then we'd have other days where it was just like, we're at this house for an entire week packing. So I think one year was like 364. It was like literally a different house almost every day. And that's because those days I had multiple jobs a day. And then there was one year where I only did 200. And that's because every job I had was 4 and 5 day jobs. And there was no other jobs I'd do. So it kind of balanced out. It works out to about 300 families a year you help. And they're all different and there's all kinds of crazy things, but we can talk about that at another time. Anyways, so it would be kind of interesting to go out where you grew up and see what the changes are.
Yeah.
Because I've been through your hometown area several times, especially in the last 5 years, and you haven't?
No, like I said, so I went out there one other time because one of my uncles who currently lives in Colorado was out here because one of his good buddies that he grew up with died. So
was that
here. That was my
Zeke?
Uncle Mark.
Mark, okay.
Now Zane
was from Alaska, right?
Yeah, and he's one of my great uncles. That's actually my grandfather's brother.
Yeah, I just remember him coming into the shop, and he was just a sweet old man.
Yeah.
And he, obviously there is one attribute I really have besides my just stunning eyes. Because that's one thing you and I are very lucky with, hazel eyes. Some days you might get the green in us. Sometimes you might get the blue. Sometimes you might get the amber or the yellow or whatever.
Gray. Oh my God, your eyes are gray.
Actually, it's really super creepy when your eyes go yellow and gray at the same time. Because it's like, oh shit, there's a storm a brewing with you. When your eyes go, there's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like when your eyes are in a transitional color, I know either there's something wrong with your mood or there's something wrong with your medical stuff. And it's just like, because it's like your body's in this really weird imbalance. Like today is Friday. So Monday I got up and I was stressing about all the stuff that needed to get accomplished towards our content group. Like all the stuff. And I was stressing and I'm washing my face going, do I need to go? Because I didn't even have to leave anywhere. I don't think I left the house on Monday, or maybe I did. I don't fucking remember. Anyways, and I remember I scared myself in the mirror because I'm like, my eyes are really green today. And this isn't normal because I'm used to having a very earth balance where you can see a little bit of brown, you can see a little bit of blue, you can see a little green. But it was like, seriously, like, yeah, I don't even want to know what that's all about. I'm not even going to address that. It just happened. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So hopefully we're not locked in here because I'll punch a fucking window. I'm just saying.
The door's open.
Yeah. Like somebody literally leaned in and turned off the light.
Mm.
Yeah.
I figured they were just automatic lights.
No, I don't think so because
this one has a sensor.
Oh, maybe. Oh, it's flashing. Let's do a wave. Maybe, but I swear I saw somebody walk out and then I saw a hand come back out the corner of my eye and I thought they turned it off, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the Botox in the building. Who knows? Fuck those guys. Do you know what they are?
Sounds familiar.
Odd Thomas, Dean Koontz.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Fuck them Botox. Even if I saw a Botox in real life, I could fake it like I didn't see it. Okay, my squirrel is showing hard today. So anyways, so your uncle, Zane, right? Not Zeke, it's Zane. Right?
Zane, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought he was really sweet because he came into the shop twice. And, I have other attributes besides my eyes that you and I being best friends, you don't even notice it anymore. You really don't. I don't think you've noticed it in probably 14 years, 11 months, and 28 days.
Also, considering what we did for so long, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever.
It doesn't phase either one of us. Yeah. But I did find it very cute that he was at least respectful enough that he looked in the eye when he was talking to me, asking for you. And it was so weird too, having this older guy come in and actually kept my eye contact. And he's just like, you still got a fellow that works here by this name? Like, and me, I'm so protective of you. I'm like, yeah, and I'm waiting for it. But he kept eye contact with me until I got you up there. And then I noticed he, kind of did a quick peek, but he was so respectful. He's such a sweet old man. He's still alive, right?
As far as I know.
Yeah. He's not the one. Well, I know you had a great uncle pass away in the last few years. Either right after your grandpa.
Actually, I think yes. I think he's actually the last male.
I almost said in your grandpa's last name, I almost said of the boys, and that'd have been very confusing for anybody out in the general public because your grandfather has a very famous last name. Well, think about that.
Yes. However, he's not related to those people.
He's not, but it would still, there's going to be those internet sleuths out there and they're going to go, I know that they're related. Somehow this is the bastard great grandson of Bartholomew J. La. You always have those people out there. They just assume, especially if they're going, oh, he's got hazel eyes and those individuals, oh, they got it, and people just assume.
No, my great grandfather changed his name to that for reasons.
Yeah.
So we're not related at all, actually.
Right. But
which we didn't know that until after he died.
Yeah. I mean, because I actually remember you being like, so this is interesting because that's when you found about and we can do a whole episode on that because I find it very fascinating if it's something you want to talk about because like for me, we see these kind of shit in movies. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. It was actually referenced in a roundabout way, a similar situation in a TV show I watched in the 2000s, early 2000s. And it is just kind of like, I find
that was a whole decade ago. What are you talking about?
But think about that. Today's day and age, right? Okay. Everything that happened and has happened and is out there on broadcast, on the World Wide Web, on the internet, out there, social media, everything. You think about all those different family experiences that are out there, right? And nothing is shocking anymore. Absolutely nothing is shocking. Oh, Billy Bob went out and got 3 bobcats and a tiger. Huh? Yeah, it sounds about right. Nothing shocks us. But when you think about it actually being part of your family and something that was very hidden, and then you find out about it after a death or like any kind of a big life change, it literally, even if you have no judgment about it, it's just kind of shocking. It's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because I imagine your uncle, who you see once a week now, I imagine it kind of threw him for a little bit loop too, huh?
Not really.
Did he suspect it?
No. First of all, he's an uncle through marriage, so it's not his bloodline that it.
Oh, so he's just like, oh, cool. That's what was your grandpa's name again?
Jerry.
Oh, that's what Jerry did before he met my mom. Cool.
Oh no, my great grandfather is the one that did.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah.
So I think his name was Frank. I don't remember. I think his
Frisky Frank.
No, actually, no, because I don't remember one of my oldest great uncle's names, because his name was Junior. We always just referred to him as Junior. So I don't know. I thought that maybe it was his mother's father or something, because I thought that my grandfather's middle name, which was Frank, was his father's name, but I think it was probably his grandfather's name or something.
Yeah.
Because his oldest brother was just referred to as Junior all the time.
Yeah. See, and so here's the odd thing for anybody who's actually listening right now, like you guys can't get it. Sometimes when I laugh, I have no audible sound when I laugh, and I'm kind of laughing because I'm watching Bub like do this description. You should see the look on his face. And the more his face contorts to try to remember the family line, the more I literally, and I love you so much, but the more I hear the more I hear that, because I'm just like, and I think it's just because I know you grew up in a rural area, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, but who am I to talk?
Yeah.
My family lineage is the fucking McCoys, man.
Yeah.
So who am I to talk?
And my great grandmother, my grandfather's mother, she is a Parnell, or was a Parnell.
And I know that's important, but I don't remember why.
So we're not direct line descendants, but Charles Stewart Parnell is the dude who basically did the Irish Revolution. So
that makes sense.
Basically freed most of Ireland from English control.
I mean, that actually truly makes sense. It really does. It just totally explains your disposition being related to that. But now, if you think about mine, it totally explains when, like, I am easy and casual, but the minute you piss me off, it's like 0 to I'm going to punch your face. Like,
yeah.
You know, and it's such a weird thing. It's these things that are like, oh, no, you can't. No, that's my family lineage. It's just like, we're calm until you piss us off. And the minute you piss us off, it's game on, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like you are probably the slowest burn. When I talk to people about like one of our trips that we took for the company.
Redacted.
And an ex of mine said,
oh, yeah.
How did it go? And I'm like, Bubba, he is, or Dagda, because, we're talking now, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Dagda is the most even keel motherfucker that I've ever met in my whole life. And he has got the slowest burn for his anger. I was just like, but when his anger hits, it is just like when me and my switch flips, because where I'm pretty even keel and I'll give you plenty of warnings, he is going to counter you with logic. The minute you're fucking disrespectful and you are not responding respectfully, if he's been respectfully, it is game. I said, I thought he was going to kill somebody. I really did. I really thought he was going to kill this guy, because I thought he was going to stroke out. I thought he was going to kill this guy, because the look on his face was like, one more word, motherfucker, let's go. Like, I mean, you were literally, have you seen the movie Split with James McAvoy?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
So in Split, James McAvoy is this guy who's got like, I don't know, 17, 18 personalities who live with him, and each one's different. One of the personalities that lives within him is called the Beast. And when James McAvoy in this movie turns into the Beast, literally his whole entire physicality changes. And you haven't seen Glass? Have you seen Glass?
I've not seen Glass. I saw the very first one. What was that?
Unbreakable?
Unbreakable. I want to see the other two because they're basically comic book movies. But yeah. You
definitely 100% need to see Split, because James McAvoy, I could take him or leave him as an actor. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a cute guy. He's a decent actor. Whatever. I mean, Professor Xavier, whatever. No Patrick Stewart, but what? I saw him in Split, and I probably spent 3 months being obsessed, going to Wikipedia every fucking day to look this guy up. So, but anyways, I told my ex at the time, it was my partner at the time, but it's my ex now. And I said to him, I was like, dude, I literally thought he was either going to stroke out or he was going to go murder a motherfucker off camera in our parking lot. And he was just like, what happened? I said, I don't really know. Cause obviously I'm inside the shop. He's outside the shop. I was like, and he came back and it was literally day and night. I was concerned for myself. Not that you would hit me or anything, but what I was concerned about is your rage was I was either going to have to tackle you to not kill this motherfucker, or if he came in the shop, there was going to be a big fucking fight in which I'd have to fucking clean up the mess.
Yeah.
And with the type of shop and the type of stuff it is, it's just like, I don't want to clean that shit up. And I always thought that. So now we fast forward, 11 years later or whatever, I actually saw, and I got reminded of this Monday afternoon, or was it Tuesday afternoon after you left? Nope, it was Monday afternoon because it was while I was doing some chores. Anyways, there's a show I watch called Body Cam, and there was an episode on there, and there was an actual fight in the same type of shop that we used to run, and it was in fucking
Redacted.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
And it's so funny listening to these officers talk about it. He's like, so I did this call out at this, but in our city, we have like 4 or 5 of these places. Do you know how fucking small Spokane is to have 5 of those kind of shops?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. But I was just like, as soon as I saw that, I went, literally had a flashback of that night and how angry you were. And I was just like, yeah, I'm really glad that guy didn't come inside the shop and it didn't lead to that, because that's a motherfucking mess. You literally can see the clerk on camera be like, what the fuck are you doing? I gotta clean that shit up, you stupid fucks. And it was a fucking mess, because unlike some of our products, which were behind the counters and in the cabinets, those were all up on shelves and they all got broken, went everywhere. Yeah. Oh my God. And I swear you can hear one guy, and I don't know if it literally was, I could hear the guy say it or I was thinking about it like, ugh, you better get hazmat in there to clean up that shit.
Yeah. I mean, there were several times at the shop that I was surprised that fights didn't break out.
Yeah.
Considering some of the bad behavior and people getting, just the subject matter can make people kind of act
really
unusual.
edgy.
And people not being cognizant of other people's like areas.
Yeah, spatial awareness space. Is not. Yeah.
And then people being like extra territorial because they want this product and they're like looking through the things, and then somebody else comes up and invades their area. It's like, wow. First of all, you're both kind of dickheads, but also you're gonna fight over this.
Cocksuckers.
Yeah. There were a lot of things going through my head in that situation. Lots of calculations being made and be like, okay, if this goes down, I have to do X, Y, and Z, because I don't think that if I don't do those things that I will be able to walk away from this.
Yeah. And it's so funny because one of my siblings, the first year I was at the shop, she'd actually come to the shop in the first 6 months, because remember there was a furniture store next door and they were giving away stuff. And it was when her partner had just moved in with her, and that's how far we go back, because now he's been living here all this time. Right. So anyways, and I'd called her about, they've got a desk and they got this, if your partner is still looking for any of that. And she came in the shop. Do you remember? That was, I'd only been at the shop at that point, maybe 6 months, my birthday that year. So my birthday was like 9 months after I started there, 8 or 9 months after I started there. That is when she gave me this. And I have carried it ever since, because she was just like, okay, I understand you can't bring your firearm in here. Because I did ask if I could bring my firearm in. Yeah. And I was told no, because of the insurance. Fine. But she was just like, you don't ever go to work without that. Carry that wherever you can, because at least you have a fighting chance if something happens. Because there is this big misnomer. There is this, back then even, maybe not so much now. I think women have really kind of displayed that, we're going to fucking fight back. I mean, honestly, we have definitely shown that time and time again. It's like, we're not going to do which, you know, I don't know if you remember, but way back in the 80s, there was some experts who had went on a couple of the not local, but on the couple of the talk shows. And we're talking about if you get assault, if somebody grabs you, what you should do is be compliant, because if you make like literally basically what they said to young women, young women and young girls was, if somebody grabs you, just take
SA
and you might get away with your life. The reality is these guys who are doing it already pretty much know whether they're going to kill you or not. My philosophy is that if there's a higher probability that they're going to take my life or try to
SA,
which I'm not down for either, then if nothing else, I know I'm quick enough that 3 inches can go somewhere the sun doesn't shine, and we'll leave them with a permanent scar. So anyways, yeah, now I think we got off lucky because if you think about it, our primary shop that we worked out of before we had to travel to the other side of the state so much because of the fucking nonsense that was happening there.
Yeah.
If you think about it, I mean, we worked a day early evening shift. So I think there wasn't as many. And I think that's because, one, being so close to the military base, and two, that was probably 80% of our consumer base is military.
Yeah.
And they knew better in the light of day. They knew there was a quicker response during the daytime than nighttime, because nighttime response for the police was like ridiculous. And if they were military, then the MPs had to be notified, and that might be an hour. They had to sit in the parking lot waiting for the MPs to come get the guy.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we got lucky in that aspect that we were during the daytime.
Yeah.
Because I definitely got enough calls over the years, being the manager and having the ability to view the cameras remotely. I definitely got seen enough over the years to know that the night shift was a whole different beast. There was a whole lot of nonsense that, and you know, it's funny, like we talk about, well, I didn't see this, but I saw enough camera. I saw enough video. I literally saw somebody punch another person in the face. And the clerk who was on duty called me. What do I do? Tell him to get the fuck out. Oh, but he's saying it happened because of this. Motherfucker, you tell him I'm watching the live feed right now. And if anything, it's him. And we should call the fucking police on him. And it was all because there was a female involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I still remember calling me and going, I don't know what to do, because this individual, I'm like, first of all, the individual ain't supposed to fucking be there anymore. They got their last fucking warning. Oh, yeah. But
I was also kind of understanding he's kind of a tiny dude. So having to deal with a bunch of rowdy customers, probably not.
Yeah. So I know we're getting to the point where we got to wrap up and get to the next project. But here's the funny thing. So now people are a couple episodes in, and this is why listening to us is fucking hilarious. Because of my squirrel, we can't stay on one topic. It always just floats around there. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this guy will tell you, I could literally talk like quoting Charles Dickens and being like, or not Charles Dickens. I only read that shit once when I was a kid.
Please, sir, can I have some more? I'm pretty sure that's Charles Dickens.
Yeah, that's not A Christmas Carol, though, which is my most familiar Charles Dickens thing. That is...
Actually,
isn't that A Tale of Two Cities?
No, because that's Tiny Tim. Tiny
Tim's just like... No, he's begging... No. Maybe I'm confusing Pink Floyd's The Wall.
What the fuck?
I think I'm confusing. You can't have any more pudding until you eat your meat.
Yeah, no. That's not Tiny Tim, dude.
Hey, you don't know that actor who did that in that video? His name might have been Tim. You don't know? Do you know? Were you there during the filming? You don't know. Anyways.
Don't think I was alive during that filming.
Fucking hey, right. So this is the problem with why... This is the problem with staying on track, but it will get better. So you kind of have to listen to 3 or 4 episodes kind of close by to each other to get the whole stories, because I still think we should take a day trip. I'm going to rewind my brain to the first part of this conversation. I would love for us to take a day trip and go see the differences for you in basically what is considered your hometown, because I know the difference in it. I know how big it is now, because your home city is now almost as big as the city we live in now. That's massive if you think about it.
It's nowhere near that size, but okay.
No, the amount of the populace. Oh, yeah. So this city right now, we have about 250,000 people in it. Your home city has about 180,000 people now living in it and the area around it. On the
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about that.
That's insane because the city that we live in is like the 4th largest city in.
Yeah, it's only 200. So they would say it's 253,000, but so I worked the census before I worked for the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really interesting is during that census, so some of the census people will try to, and obviously 2020, we just had another census because it's done every 10 years. So one of the reasons why we seem a lot bigger than we actually truly are as far as true residences is because of the homeless population that we actually take in our city. Because what happens is other local cities pay us to transport the homeless over here because we're supposed to have programs to better deal with. Like a local city that I'm not going to say on air because that's still not something we're comfortable talking about yet. They actually pay us $85,000 a year, and they bus every month. They bus up to 25, 30 homeless people over here, but we get paid $85,000 a year to take them into our city.
Their problems here.
Yeah, basically they drop off their problems. What happens is they assess these people, they get their basic information, get them registered into the outreach programs and all of that good stuff. So it's kind of psycho crazy.
I did notice the other day, across the street from the 911 place, there's that big, it was basically a
empty lot.
Well, it was filled with a bunch of little shelters, like little tiny
they're
homes
doing the
or
tiny
whatever.
homes, yeah.
They're all gone.
Yeah.
And it was filled with homeless people, basically.
Yep.
Now it's an empty lot again, other than it has the big fence and the little guard shack still.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on here?
Yeah. And it's super crazy, but hold on. We have to get out of this room. Our time up is here. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And of course, what are we going to say? The outro is going to hit them pretty soon. So if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe. If you haven't shared hello, please share and share and share and share and subscribe because we're actually kind of funny at times. So that's all the time we have for the day. And of course, OBS, we publish a lot. So we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. That's all the time we have for today. So I want to thank you for stopping by to enjoy the conversation. We're glad you're here. And please share and share again and share some more. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll be having another chat and another cup soon. We'll talk to you then. Look forward to seeing you.